you think that objects or energy help us communicate with the other side?
Hold on, let me put on my Shane Cashman glasses really quick.
Did you just get out and get those? Holy moly! Look at
Yeah,
us. What are we? What are we in a Weezer cover band?
We are.
Post Malone, please.
Yeah.
My name is Jonah. Dude. Say the question again.
Do you think objects can help us, or energy helps us communicate with these other supernatural entities? Electricity in general. Do you think that accelerates the way we communicate with these things?
Electricity? I mean, well, do you mean like do things hold energy? Like I had a Native American doll that I got, in New Mexico, and I had to get rid of it because it was very stable and it kept falling over and
Right.
like weird things kept happening. So I
Oh,
was
weird.
like, and then my friend was like, you should get rid of it. He was a Lakota Indian.
Oh,
As
interesting.
far as electricity, what do you,
Let me put it like this. When our last caller was, he brought up something you were saying earlier about music, and being like God's voice, and how, he was saying he play guitar can feel this like electric, kind of vibe. I'm paraphrasing. What that made me think of is this, and you can react to this. Episode 8 of Twin Peaks season 3, David Lynch shows the audience the atom bomb exploding. And my interpretation is that David Lynch is saying we blew up the atmosphere with all these tests, and that's where these portals opened and thinned the veil between the other world and this world. And that's the episode where we see these type of demonic creatures start to populate Earth. I feel that way because I've had interesting apparition encounters that seem to happen through electricity. It's like they can use electricity, lights, cars, something like a toaster, a microwave, to kind of find a way to communicate with you.
No, I absolutely agree, and ironically, I've been having this issue where, and I think he was speaking on night terrors, the last caller, that
Yeah.
my buddy Adriel, he's at this house. He's a soccer fan. He's from Argentina, and then when I go by the TV starts freezing and sputtering out, and he's like, you need to drink more magnesium or something. Like he thinks that I have like
Magnesium
I'm
deficiency.
like, oh, what do I don't even know. I mean maybe that's real, but yeah, I agree. I think everything's kind of like a conduit, particularly music and the guitar, even an acoustic guitar, that's a vibrational system. Electric guitar that is literally you have to plug it in to
Yep.
like the Tesla model of like, so
Right.
you're sending sound waves through what is essentially lightning.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like a guitar is like through like a bolt out of a cloud. And that's kind of crazy. So
That's
again,
great.
what I was saying earlier is that it's just a responsibility. You just better be careful. Be careful what you wield.
Yes, I'm totally with you on that. I think that's why I also, when I told you about the Surf's Up solo, that's a solo piano version I was telling you about a while back about the Beach Boys,
Probably
why it
my
makes me
favorite
cry.
song of all time. Yeah.
Dude, people, please listen up. It's not just the regular Surf's Up version. Go listen to the Brian Wilson piano version, solo piano version. It's the most haunting, beautiful song, but it makes me cry, and it's because I think this stuff can tap into the other world. I was curious what you think about this. John Frusciante, Red Hot Chili Peppers. He used to say he was possessed by Jimi Hendrix, and that's his ability. Like that kind of falls in with what you're saying about this power that you wield when it comes to art in general. Like he's allowing himself to kind of, what he says, be possessed, which I would say is not safe. What do you take away with someone saying something like that?
Well, this lines up great because I did the breathwork thing with Biet last night, who does breathwork with Russell Brand for his retreats and things like that. And I played some songs and played guitar behind her doing breathwork, like the breathwork that like gets you high, and
Right.
it does. You're like, whoa, my legs are numb. It's very interesting. But I played a Pale King live, and I left, and gentleman. Not that that's relevant, but I feel like I don't have a lot of Asian fans for some reason, but I was like,
Yeah.
it's usually like tattooed white kids who are like 25 or 35 and girls.
Yeah.
But
I feel
he was like
attacked.
an
Thanks.
older Asian man.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But he came up to me and he goes, "You're Elliot Smith if you die." Is like, oh, but it felt like a compliment. But I was like, oh, he like.
Can you repeat it,
But I felt
Christopher?
like creeped out.
Can you repeat it one more time? You cut out.
He said that the first song I played, he started weeping.
Cut out again.
Oh,
The
no.
ghost is getting to us,
Oh, no.
and Christopher's frozen.
They don't want us
Wow,
talking about
this
it.
is what you get for messing with it. Christopher, you cut out. My man, I am so sorry. I think the ghost is meddling.
Yeah.
If you can hear us.
Am I back?
No, but look, let's put Chris to the side real quick. Christopher, you can hear us. We'll come back to you. We gotta find a way to push this ghost out of this room. Who doesn't want us to hear from Christopher? I'm sorry. Sorry to the listeners.
Let me know when I'm back.
Yep. Sorry to the listeners about that.
That's right. We're gonna bring Kat into the room.
All right.
Kat, are you with us?
Kat, can you hear us?
I can
what we
hear
got.
you.
No,
I'm
I think
here.
you're back. You're back.
Christopher, we'll be right back to you after we hear from Kat. So sorry, brother. Kat, you are up.
All right. So as I was talking to you on Instagram and my messages, I told you I'd read the room that you're in while I was on the phone with you.
Oh boy.
There's a lot of stuff that I picked up there, but I also have my near-death experience that you wanted to hear about. So which one do you want me to start with?
Let's hear the near-death experience first,
Yes,
and then
okay.
we'll settle up with the reading of the room.
All right. So I'm going to tell you right now, I may get emotional. I'm a very emotional reader. I pick up emotions, and speaking about this is pretty emotional for me, but I'll try not to.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. In 2020, in February 2020, I had my second stroke. I've had like 5 or 6 of them. I have a really bad heart, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and I get clots in my brain easily. Well, after my second stroke, they had just gotten me good, and I was feeling my left side of my body again, and I was feeling great. And I told my husband, go home, go be with the kids, it'll be all right. About half an hour later, I started feeling really funny, and my machine started going off, and I hit my call button, and the nurse comes in, and I remember telling her I don't feel very well, and then I was just gone. The first thing that I remember, I'm in a place that's like this amazing, peaceful, calm, beautiful place. Like it's indescribable. You can't describe it. And anybody who's had a near-death experience, I feel like they have a hard time describing what's on the other side as well. But I was then met by my little brother. He passed away. He lost his battle with cancer in 2016.
Wow.
So when I'm there, like on the other side, there's like zero concept of time. A minute, a year, it's all, but it also felt like I was there for ages, being able to reconnect with my brother and have these amazing conversations. And then, after a while we're talking, and he just looks at me and says, all right, sis, it's time to go. And I remember thinking, what do you mean? And I was confused. And then I get woken up, and they broke my sternum and my ribs doing CPR.
Wow.
So I was gone for like 13 and a half minutes, and they tried everything to bring me back. And it wasn't until they broke my sternum that I, jolted back into my body. And I remember being incredibly pissed off, like so mad that I was alive, and I was ripped away from my brother, and I was like gone from this eternally beautiful place, And then it hit me like, holy shit, I'm back. I need to be here. I have 5 kids,
Right.
So it was like, I don't know, that realization, it helped to like fuel a lot of things. Now, I've been a psychic medium my entire life. I'm a paranormal investigator. I deal with this kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis, but actually being there is completely different than what I see every day. Like I interact with spirits every day, read for people all day long, help them through their grief and different processes in their life. But actually being there, being on the other side is like I said, it's an indescribable thing. And I've actually studied a lot of near-death experiences since then. And I feel like this is my own take on it. There's a lot of people that say, well, I didn't see anything. It was just black. And, it makes me wonder if that's like the heaven and hell dynamic where they're being shown that there's nothing there for them on the other side, that there's, like maybe you're coming back so that you can make changes. And every time you read an experience like that, they're like, yeah, I changed my life. I made sure that I did go down the straight and narrow and everything. It's crazy to think that you're given that chance to see that you could be left with nothing on the other side.
Did you ever hear about, I think this is a Victorian era terminology, but a place called Summerland? I think people used to call the afterlife. That kind of sounds like what you're describing.
Yeah, I have heard about that. I've definitely seen things about it in different books and such. I'm like everybody else. Like I will read and read and read, and I just absorb information. So yeah, I've read about it.
If you remember, do you know if the people, like when you saw your brother on the other side, are they able to see you? Like before you get to the other side, are they able to observe this reality?
Mm-hmm, for sure. All of our loved ones on the other side, they can see us, they can hear us, and most of the time they try their best to communicate with us. And you were just talking about like how they use energy. They for sure use energy. They use our energy. They use actual electricity to be able to be strong enough to send those messages to us. Unless, you're somebody like me, you don't pick up on those subtle hints, but like the knocking you hear in the middle of the night, or you hear your name whispered, that's definitely your loved ones trying their hardest to reach out to you.
Yeah. I feel like the advancements in technology have helped the other side communicate with this side. It's something I've heard from a lot of mediums, but there's stories dating back, hundreds of years of people communicating with what they believe to be the other side, and there was no technology, but it seems to have spiked since, and
well, there's ways before technology as well, like with Ouija boards and tarot cards and seances and things like that. And I actually I create Ouija boards. Like I paint them, I make them out of wood, I customize them for other people. I've been studying different types of divination since I was like 10 years old. So it's not evil to me to see a Ouija board in somebody's house. And as long as you treat it with respect, then it's not going to bring anything over that it shouldn't.
Right. You're more along the lines of kind of what Chris was saying earlier with art in general, is it wields a power, and you could either go south with it or not. I've never really messed with one, and I don't plan to, but I don't trust it, but I know people who do. I know people who've had good experiences with them and also terrible. I know someone who claims to have been possessed by a Ouija board, but they didn't know what they were doing. So exactly. Yeah, that is wild. So when you woke up in the hospital, is that the last time that you had an experience like that, or heard from your brother?
Oh no, I've died a couple times since then.
Oh geez.
I talk about it so casually, but yeah, no, I've died a couple times since then.
What a sentence. Do you go back to the same place?
Usually, yeah. It's a place that, it's not just my brother that's there. There's other ancestors there. There's other, people that are important to me there. Our pets are there, like I play with my dog that was so heart crushing to lose, and she's there every time I go, it's amazing. Like I said, it's something you can't really describe.
It's unbelievable that you've had to experience this, but also gained access to what I'd imagine is some sort of comfort knowing that this place awaits you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They do say, I've studied the Bible. I actually am ordained, but they say in the Bible that your kingdom is being built on the other side, and your ancestors are definitely over there building your kingdom, waiting for you.
Right. Yeah. I knew a psychic medium in Georgia who's a Baptist, and his family, like this guy, he claims to hear a lot of things, and he's predicted things that happen in his community, and he talks to people that he should never have heard from who lived in the 1850s, and you go look it up, and it is odd how much a lot of this stuff adds up that he says.
Right.
His father rejected his abilities, we'll call them, But then one point he told his father some story that, according to him, only his father could have known, and the man who passed away many years prior. And his father, who rejected this stuff, found a new comfort and actually regained joy in his own life, because I think he was a man who was fearful of his own death,
Right.
which, an old man. So, I've heard these stories from a bunch of people, and I think it's really interesting.
I was
continue. No,
incredibly
sorry.
lucky the way I was raised, because my family, we're all psychic. It's generational, so I was lucky that way.
Wow. So have you, other people in your family, also experienced the other side?
Yeah, me more than others. Like, I feel like I practice and make it work more and more, and it's my job every single day. So, but like I said, I have 5 kids, and they all have their own unique gifts, and it's pretty amazing.
Wow. So before we let you go, could you want to do a reading of this room? You said you're already feeling things. Can you explain what you're sensing?
I feel like Alex gets picked on most during the shows. I've seen her being picked on quite a bit during this live stream and in the previous one. I feel there's a young child there. I feel like it's a boy. There's also a woman in like her late 30s, early 40s, and then there's something maybe a little bit darker, but not demonic. It's just, I like to call them like people who are hangry on this side, so they're a little bit extra angry on the other side about the fact that they're gone or whatever it is. But more interestingly, I did pick up quite a few entities with your special guest, Chris. He has quite a few of them with him where he is in Joshua Tree now. And his grandpa's like, I'm right here. As soon as he started talking about his grandpa, he raised his hand and said, yep, that's me. So
So when you say you're seeing this, are you seeing entities, or is that an abstract way of saying see?
Right. So my vision, I see shadows, extra shadows. I also see in my mind's eye. So it's very clear in my mind's eye who is with you. As for who's in the office with the 2 of you right now, I'm not sure who they're attached to or whether they're attached to the house or the land, but there's definitely entities there with you, not happy about the show, but they're going to let it go on. We were actually joking in the chat because people kept getting kicked out of the chat too, so they were like, it's a haunted chat too.
Haunted chat. That's good.
You're really making me cry.
Are you okay?
No,
You're crying.
I know.
Alex is
I
crying.
can see that,
emotional.
and I feel bad. And you're gonna make me cry. I'm trying not to pay attention.
You should feel good that they're letting us do the show.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you crying because are you sensing stuff?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like she feels like she's watched constantly, and maybe even feels them touching her.
I mean, Alex has had gone through some crazy stuff in this room already, and it has, like, when you say it's attacking her. Have you experienced stuff before? I asked you last week, but like in your life, have you experienced any type of haunting situation?
I mean, a little. I mean, not really. I've had a psychic say, like, my, my grandmother was around, but you mentioned a little boy, right? Is that what you said?
Right.
I know you don't.
He's probably about 7 years old.
Oh, I don't know.
Interesting. When you see it, are you saying like that might be someone
that could be part of the house,
who's a part of the house or part of us from our history?
Right.
But you can't tell
that,
her.
like I said, I'd need more time with that. Doing it from a live stream or a phone call is a little bit difficult. In person's great. I understand that in person can't probably happen. Although I am in North Carolina, not far from West Virginia.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy to come. West Virginia has always been on my bucket list because there is so much there that's haunted, and I just want to experience all of it.
It's if you're. Obviously, you're into this stuff. If you're into it, I mean, this whole state is one big, like, museum for
right.
ghosts.
It's like a magnet for it.
Yeah, it's strange. And Alex is getting it firsthand. This is why she's been telling me for a while she's not moving to West Virginia.
Like, I'm not coming here.
The veil is thin in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate, Kat, you calling in and sharing that story. Again,
No, I appreciate you allowing me to.